This is Katie with Homeschooling for His Kingdom. Welcome. Today we are going to be talking about how to submit for reimbursements for the PEP Scholarship in Florida. So some of you might be or have been awarded the scholarship this year or even last year or the year before. We were awarded last year and then this year again recently, so we're very excited about it. It has been such a blessing. The Father has provided so many things for us through this. And so last year when it first came out, I was kind of stumbling through some of the paperwork. It can probably seem overwhelming. It was to me at first. And so at first I wanted to kind of get my head around it. I kept getting kickbacks and I wanted to come on and help y'all, but it was just, I wasn't sure I understood it enough. So we have had it now for over a year, and I think I've gotten a lot of it down anyway as to not getting hardly any kickbacks. I haven't gotten a kickback in months, except for there was one regarding, we had submitted for a guitar, and then I had submitted everything together, like the guitar with all of the supplies, like the case and the cord, the picks and everything, and they wanted me to separate that. So certain things will still come up, but by and large, on all of the reoccurring things that we buy, the Father has helped me understand it. So I'm hoping that these tips will help you. And of course, they won't be fully inclusive. It won't include everything, but just the things that I'm submitting for, we've had success. I wanted to show you. These are all the things that I've submitted for and gotten reimbursement. So it's been a huge blessing. And then these are I've submitted and waiting to be reimbursed for. They're a little backed up. Usually this folder is not that thick usually, but they're a little backed up from year end, processing the assessments, I think, and then getting all the new families for this year. So please be patient. I think usually they would reimburse within like 3 weeks normally throughout the year, but lately it's been more like 2 months or so, but they're still reimbursing. So it seems to be, just get in line. Like, definitely keep putting your reimbursements in, even if you haven't seen anything paid out yet, especially if you're new. Definitely try to get them in, because I feel like it's, first come, first serve, and they just keep getting the next one that was put in the queue. So there are some basic tips I just wanted to go over. The first one is they don't reimburse for tax. And so that was a mistake I was making in the very beginning. I kept putting like the total, like if it was an Amazon receipt, Walmart, wherever you buy supplies, I would put, like, let's say it was $100 plus tax of 10 for round numbers. So I would put 110 instead of putting 100. Okay, so those would be a kickback. Like, Mrs. Lopez, please take out your tax. I was like, oh, okay, sorry. So please just make sure to enter the amount before tax. That's one tip that has helped me not get kickbacks. And the next one, I just kind of wanted to go over how I submit for like tutors, teachers, things like that in general. So let's jump over to the online. Let's jump over to the website really quick and look at it online. You want to go to Step Up for Students, and then go to you'll log into your private side where you can see your students. Go to Reimbursements, and then click there'll be a blue box that says New. So go ahead and click the New, and then there'll be a drop down of all your students. Pick the one that you have the receipt for that you want to reimburse for, and then hit Continue. And then it will say Upload, okay? So here's what it says. Upload an original, unaltered receipt or invoice from the vendor or provider. The type of information required on the receipt or invoice may differ from one expense category to another and is outlined in the Parent Guardian Handbook. Okay, so there's a link right here on the website, or I can also try to put one in the description box below. It says, please submit one reimbursement per receipt or invoice. Okay, so there's another tip right there is you're not going to be able to submit one receipt for like all 5 kids or all 2 kids or all 3 kids. You're going to have to submit individually for every child. Okay, so after this, there's many drop down boxes on their website for like, is this a tutor? Is this a field trip? Is this a TV for the classroom? Is this curriculum? Those I think you guys can probably figure out. I'm not an expert on those yet. However, whatever I use the same things, and it just goes right through. So those are going to be individual. A lot of those are also for like if you're going to various different private schools, like 1 or 2 times a week, and we don't do that. So I don't want to speak to anything I can't that I don't understand clearly. So those drop downs will come next. But what I do want to share with you today is right here where it says upload the receipt. That's the part where I feel like I've kind of gotten comfortable, and I feel like I can share some tips on this part right here, okay? So the first thing that I'll go over is like, if you have, besides the tax, that was the very first thing I suppose. The next thing I want to go over is, like, let's say you have an invoice from a teacher, like a piano teacher, and you want to upload it, but what information do you upload? There's 4 items that you're going to want to put with that invoice from the piano teacher, okay? The very first thing is the educational benefit form, which I can put it in the description box below, or it's on their website. You can type in the details for the educational benefit form, or you can just print it out and write it, whatever's faster for you. As an example, I'll just walk through one of them for you to see how easy it is. They ask a lot of questions, but it's not that hard. Okay, here's an example of an art lesson for my daughter Taylor. So the educational benefit form says student name. You put the student's first and last name, the student ID, and that should be inside the portal or your private side. You should have the student ID, so definitely put that there. They have kicked back for not having a student ID, so make sure to have that. It says reimbursement type. Is this a PE equipment? Is this a field trip? I just put art lesson. Then the next line says item for which reimbursement is requested. I said, again, art lesson. You know, it's not that creative. Then it says learning subject. Is this for math, reading, physical education, and so forth? I put art education. I changed it a little. And again, this is one that they have reimbursed for. They did not kick this one back. Okay, and then it says supporting curriculum or course description. Okay, so here I just put the art teacher's name, and I said has given Taylor, I put her full name, in-person instruction and education related to art. And then it says, how will this item help your student learn? And here I just got a little creative, okay? I just started using some art words because I don't exactly know everything the art teacher is going to teach, or like the piano teacher or the guitar teacher, but I do know the idea, okay? So here's what I put. Taylor will learn and practice with many forms of art. She will learn about art tools, perspective, proportion, composition, subject selection, shading, highlighting, finishing, framing, and more. And I probably got all these words from her teacher, or maybe I looked at something that Taylor had taken notes from her first lesson. Okay, so just do your best. If it's just horse lessons, say, my child will learn how, and put the name, will learn how to ride the horse. And I also know we are taking horse lessons, so I know this, that they are learning how to care for the horse, groom the horse. They'll shower the horse afterward because it's so hot here in Florida. So you could say any of that and all of that if you want, or just say my daughter will learn how to ride a horse. You know, they have not been picky here. So just so you know, you can put a lot or a little. It never seems to be kicked back. They just want to know in general, what is this for? Okay, is it educational in some form? Okay, and then for the cost, then just put how much it is per hour. That's very important to put the cost per hour. And then the place of purchase. So our art teacher comes to the house, and so I just put our address, but if it's somewhere else at a different location, obviously put that address. Or if it's online, you can say an online purchase. Date of purchase, put the date. That's very important because they want to make sure that the date falls within the scholarship year. So you have to have the day, the month, and the year. Don't forget the year. That's super important. I think I've been kicked back because one time I didn't put the year. And then you X off that you affirm this is scholarship program funds related for the purposes as described above, and then you sign and date it, okay? Or you put your name and then you sign it, okay? So that is the educational benefit form. It's very easy to fill out, but here's my tip for it. If your child is going to be continuously taking lessons every week from somebody, copy this, save it as, and then every time there's a new date, put the new date, and then upload it with the new date. You don't have to keep retyping it or keep rewriting it every single time. So I love that. Maybe one of my mom friends told me to do that, or I know the father, somehow I knew to just copy it, and they don't care, because as long as the dates are changing and it's for the same purposes, she's still learning piano every week, and the purposes hasn't changed. The only thing that you would need to change on the educational benefit form is the date every single time. So if you are handwriting this like I am, I just use whiteout, and then I just change the date, and then save it for the next time she has an art lesson, okay? That's the first thing you're gonna wanna upload with for like a lesson. The second thing you're gonna wanna upload is the invoice from the teacher. So If some teachers have provided me invoices and they're very good about it, usually with the date and the way I paid for it, their name, their company's name, and so forth. But if your teacher doesn't give you an invoice, don't sweat it. I'll have a tip for that coming up just in a minute. But you'll want to upload, so the educational benefit form, the invoice from the teacher, and then the way you paid. Did you pay by check? Then you're going to want to go in a few days, later, let him or her get a chance to cash the check, go in and print the front and the back. Like most banks can do that now. It'll show you the proof that the check has cleared, and it'll show the front and the back. If you do submit your checks, so please be careful to white out like the routing number and the checking account number. They just want to see that your name is on the check and it is the name of the guardian, related to the student. If you pay by PayPal, just print out your PayPal receipt. If you paid by credit card or debit card, you'll want to print out the registers, the statement, excuse me. And then if it's like on page 3, sometimes I'll say, look at page 3 for piano lesson, or however I paid, whatever it is. And then on page 3, then I'll put a little star by it or highlight it or something, okay? So the third thing is the proof of payment. And then the last thing that you'll want to submit for these teachers is their credentials. So some teachers have had it right away, like the guitar teacher gave it to me right away. The piano teacher had to, she had to figure something out with, she was able to eventually give me something that they took as her credentials. The Spanish teacher had right away, she had like her master's or her bachelor's degree ready and proof, so they submitted that. So it's just, whatever they give you, make sure to put that in. And again, make a copy of it, because you do not need to be asking your piano teacher every week, can I have those credentials again? No, it'll work all year. So just make sure to save your educational benefit form and change the date each time. And then you'll want to save their credentials, and that never needs to be changed. Now, I'm not sure that you have to keep giving the credentials. Maybe they save them on file, but I keep giving the credentials just in case, because I don't want any kickbacks. So when you have like a tutor or some kind of class, like an in-person class, those are the 4 things I would highly recommend. Those are the 4 things that help me get reimbursements every time with no kickbacks, okay? We'll go over them again. The educational benefit form, the invoice, the way you paid for it, and then the credentials. Now, here's my next tip. Let's say they don't have an invoice for you, but they're accomplished. You can tell your child's learning. They just they've given you their credentials. They're just not savvy with invoices. Okay, don't sweat it. Just use Word document. That's what my Spanish teacher gave me, was a simple Word document invoice essentially. And so I saved it for her, and I used it for the other teachers that weren't able to give me invoices. So like for instance, the horse teacher did not have an invoice right away. So basically, let me show you the format. I've whited out some private stuff, but so basically you just have a title here, receipt for the horse lessons, and the student's name is Julia. You'll put the full name. What is it for? It's for in-person horse lessons from, and then you put the location. I've whited that out. And then the dates of the lesson, you just literally list every single date, and make sure to keep the year, because again, they want to make sure that this happened during your scholarship year. The location, you'll put the city and the state of Florida. The service rate is very important, because they want to see how much is she charging or he charging. And then per hour, you want to say per half an hour, per hour, whatever it is per hour, or the amount of time. And then the amount paid was, I paid $195 with check number, and I whited it out, but you'll do all that detail, or you could say by PayPal or by credit card, okay? And the instructors have whited out, but you can say their names, okay? So this has not been kicked back when I had all of the information in it, right? I'm just kind of being a little private here for us, but you can make your own invoice is what I'm saying. Just use Word document. They're not rejecting those at all. I think they understand that not everybody is maybe as tech savvy and isn't always, up with making invoices. So if you don't have one, create one in Word document, okay? It should not be handwritten, though. I have gotten things back where I've handwritten something on a receipt to like add the student number, and they kicked it back, and they're like, nope, we do not accept any adjustments on receipts, handwritten adjustments on receipts. I was like, oh, okay, sorry. So then I had to submit that back on like the educational benefit form. So the student ID should always be on the educational benefit form. However, I'll show you something with Amazon where you don't have to submit an educational benefit form for that. So hang tight. Okay, so anyway, these would be like the highest, takes me the most time with these tutor invoices, okay? Now let's go on to a different invoice that doesn't take so long. My kiddos are in the swim team, and so the coach gives me an invoice, but the invoice, let me see. I don't necessarily want to show you it because it's got some stuff on it, But my point is I don't want to write on it, okay? And so what I do is I have that front invoice, and then the back section is almost just like a blank piece of paper where I literally will write my children's names and write their student IDs. And I don't need an educational benefit form for this. All I do is I give them, because it's a computer generated, I bought it online. For some reason, it's not a tutor type. Although she does coach them, this isn't necessarily like someone that needed credentials, because it literally tells you, you know, the name of the swim club. It's computer generated, it's automated, and so I'm finding that I don't need to put educational benefit forms for these. Now, according to their handbook, maybe I should be. I'm just telling you I don't, and it's not being kicked back. And so anyway, I still have to put my way of payment. They won't take it without way of payment. But it's a little bit of a shorter cut. So if you have something that you bought online, don't always think that you have to put an educational benefit form with it. For these specific swim invoices, they don't like me to write on the invoice, so I write like on the second page or a white page, the student IDs. I show my proof of payment, and that's it, and they get paid. Okay, the next tip is what if the invoice was for all three? Like, let's say, like for instance, we bought a TV for the classroom, so I could show them, you know, educational things. Like, you know, we were doing a rock unit study earlier in the year, and we're always like looking at my little phone trying to, you know, let's look at this, you know, the diamond or the, you know, sapphire or whatever, and everything was so tiny. I'm like, they pay for TVs. What am I doing? Let me get, according to their, I don't remember the inches, but they do approve a certain amount of a TV for your classroom. So we went ahead and bought one. But as an example, let's say it's $100. It was not, it was more. But for quick thinking, so I have the 3 students with me. So this is how you submit for this one. Or like this one, this was the registration for swim. I literally did the math like on the front page. So let me just show you this. Okay, so basically I put their student number, where my hand is. I put their student number, their name, their last name. Student number, name, last name. Student number, name, last name, and then I would put the amount. So the registration fee itself was $56.70. Well, that one can be easily divided into 3. And then what I did was I uploaded $18.90 for Zach, $18.90 for Taylor, $18.90 for Julia with the same PDF. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. So if you buy something that's for all 3, get the invoice, get the way you paid for it, put their student IDs somewhere on it. If it's computer generated, they don't seem to mind as long as it's not inhibiting the overall invoice, or perhaps it's on the second page so it's not handwritten on the invoice itself. And just do the math. So like if it was $100, here's my other point. Don't worry if it's a little off, because I called on this and she said, yeah, I vaguely remember calling on something like this, and I remember her saying it's fine. So like if something costs $100 and you have 3 kids, it would be $33.33 for the first kid, $33.33 for the second kid, $33.34 for the third kid. And you do the math. What I do is I do the math on the first page with their student IDs, and I just literally write a quick blurb about what it is. This one was registration for swim meet. That one would have been TV for the classroom, for the homeschool classroom, right? That I will use for Zachariah, Taylor, and Julia. And so they get the idea. They're like, oh, this is a split invoice here for all of her kids. But I did ask, do I have to submit it every single time? And they said yes. But here's the tip: you don't have to like make a new invoice for them. It's just I literally resubmitted this one 1, 2, 3 times. Only I would select Zach the first time and select the down drop. I think there's a down drop for like classroom supply, or not classroom supplies, classroom furnishings. And so all the way through it was done with Zach. So you're submitting $18.90 for Zach? Yes, I am. Confirm. And then start all over, but submit the exact same thing for Taylor. You know, a TV for, you know, furnishings for Taylor. Okay, so you get the idea. So that saved me a little bit of time too, knowing I didn't have to recreate something every single time. They do expect you to do the division though. You're the mom, you know, or the guardian. So that was another one. And then my last tip would be like same thing for Amazon. So like at first with Amazon, I was just taking a screenshot from my phone, but it wasn't showing like the full invoice detail that they were wanting. So Amazon kept getting kicked back. And so what I realized was if I log online, to my Amazon account on my desktop, it was a much fuller screen, and there's actually a little button that says invoice, like see invoice or view invoice on Amazon, and I just click that and print that out. You could probably save it as, but I print it out because I actually put their name, their ID number somewhere, even though it's handwritten for Amazon, for whatever reason, right on the invoice. I handwrite it right on the invoice for Amazon. They reimburse every single time. So the only two things I give for Amazon, and it might be for other online purchases, like if you purchase online for Walmart, you could try this. But the only online one we seem to really purchase for a lot is Amazon. So I put the student's name, I put what it's for, like this one is called art supplies, and then I select art supplies and the other down drops, right? And I put proof of payment behind it. It's done. Like, so I literally only give them two things. I give them the Amazon invoice and showing that it's been paid. And the Amazon invoice shows them what credit card, like the last four of the credit card we used. And then I go to the credit card, and you can click on it, the literal purchase, so they're not seeing the whole credit card statement necessarily. You just click on that purchase, and in our credit card, it will just show the actual like name of the art supplies wherever we purchased it from. It'll say it'll say Amazon, so that'll match, and then it'll say the last four of the credit card. It'll say the date, which will match the date on the invoice, and they take it. So if that helps you guys any. Sometimes you really do need educational benefit forms, and then sometimes with these online purchases you don't. Like for instance, we got the piano tuned, which is another thing they will reimburse for. Well, I absolutely put in an educational benefit form for that because it was like an in-person tuning. Like I had to put the person's, like, you know, the name of the company and the check I paid for it and all that. So you'll get those items, especially like when we got the guitar. If it's something new, something different, I would recommend an educational benefit form. But if it's something that you're always buying online, like books or curriculum, a lot of times you can submit an educational benefit form for curriculum. Let me see if I have, like Hobby Lobby, we don't. Seton Testing, that's where we bought our assessments testing. I didn't, and they approved it. I'm looking for a curriculum one. That we went to the zoo. We didn't need an educational benefit form. They saw the zoo receipt. They knew what was going on. This was a field trip. But again, you want to make sure the dates are on there and make sure that you've shown your proof of payment. Let's see. Haven't bought curriculum in a while, I guess. Need to probably. Oh, there's the television one. I think I have one up here. Hold on. Yeah, okay. Yes, I did. So this was a writing curriculum for my son, Zach. So it was something new and it was something expensive. And one of the things I do notice is that the more pricey the item, a lot of times the more need for an educational benefit form. So this curriculum was more expensive than usual. So just not to get a kickback, I filled out an educational benefit form, and it was approved. So, I would recommend if it's over $100, perhaps use your educational benefit form if it's something one-off like curriculum or piano tuning or something like that. But again, even if it's online and it's more than 100, like we've purchased more than 100 with Amazon, and it was fine, and they just took it the same way. So to me, it's a little bit trial and error. And I do want to say this, interestingly enough, like, let's use the TV example. When I submitted for the TV 1, 2, 3, I don't know if it happened on this one, but I know for sure it happened on one like this. Like 2 were approved, and it's happened more than once. So please do not be discouraged if this happens to you. Like 2 of the 3 kids were approved, but the 3rd one wasn't. Now here's my tip. I guess I have more tips. It was said to me, like, I honestly don't know how the people pick the next invoice to approve. I honestly think it must be like a queue. I don't think it's like someone is assigned to your family, because what I notice is like sometimes 2 will be approved, but the 3rd one won't. But I've given them the exact same material for all 3. So how were the 2 approved, but the 3rd one wasn't? I think it's a personal preference on the reviewer at Step Up for Students. So if they're looking for something that they didn't see, or they missed something because they're human, and I did have it, which is what happened more than once, they'll say, well, you didn't include the invoice, or the date wasn't clear. Now, one time the date was not clear, and so I had to, I didn't realize it. It was a Hobby Lobby invoice, and I had given most of the invoice, but I didn't see that the date was cut off, and I had wrapped it under because it was such a long invoice. So I rewrapped the invoice and made sure the date was on. So just be careful to include your dates, and then that one was fine, if I remember right. But one time they did kick it back, and the third one was like something obvious, like the invoice isn't here, and I'm like, well, I thought I gave the invoice. So I looked up my PDFs, right, because they're all saved on my computer, but you have to save them somewhere before you upload them, right? You scan them and save them and then upload them. I looked and it was right there, and so that made sense to me why the other two were approved. But I didn't want to be disrespectful. Everybody misses stuff. So what I did, now try this, it worked for me, try it. I literally saved as the exact same PDF, knowing that I've double checked, it has everything they need. I've saved it as, and I said with invoice. Now it had the invoice the first time too. I just, whatever they said, or if it needed a date, or if it had something that is already there and you don't need to do any more work, they just missed it. Then what I've done it twice, I think now, is when I verify that it's there, just save whatever PDF you uploaded, the original one, save it as, and say the words that they're looking for. If they wanted the invoice, say Taylor's horseback, whatever it is, Taylor's horseback invoice for May 5th with invoice or something like that. And it was approved just like that. And I didn't change anything. I just gave them the exact same PDF again, but with new wording. So on the saved as part. So just be patient, I guess is what I'm saying. And don't think it's always you that messed up. Like, look at what you sent and maybe you're fine and they just missed it. So you just need to re-upload it. But if I just re-uploaded it and didn't change anything, I didn't want that to get it kicked back either. So I wanted to make it look like, oh, this is new. Let me look at it again, So anyways, that has helped. Just trying to think if there's anything else. Just be patient. Right now they seem a little bit backed up, but I'm still getting reimbursed. Even this last week, I noticed another one came through. So just make sure you get your stuff in the queue. If you have any additional questions if you have any questions, let me know. And I might have forgotten something and I can answer you in the comments, or you can email me. And if you guys have tips as well, I know a lot of you guys have been reimbursing even longer than me. So please jump in and let's help each other out with this. All right. I hope you guys are having a great day, a great week. God bless you. I'll talk to you later.